I must confess a small resentment to you. This will involve breaking a cardinal rule of public speaking, which is never bore your audience with the story of how you arrived at what you have to say. But hey, if you're going to sin, sin boldly. So here goes. Today is Good Shepherd Sunday, when our readings reference this image of Jesus and or God as the kindly shepherd guiding Christians and or Israelites, the sheeple. Good Shepherd Sunday comes around every year, not every 3 years, like most readings in the lectionary, mind you, every single year on the third Sunday after Easter. And having preached it some 17 times already, I wandered through this past week visited by only one barren, recurrent thought. Oh my God, I can't believe it's Good Shepherd Sunday again. What can I possibly say about this agrarian pastoral metaphor that has no resonance at all with anyone's life today? And honestly, with the world pitching into environmental and political catastrophe around us, do I even believe in Good Shepherd Sunday? Jesus guides us, protects us, rescues us from the stinking mad muck of this planet. Really? Because I'm not feeling it. And then I met Emil. Emil, not his real name, is a therapist colleague of mine. We've been part of an online supervision group for about 4 years, and he recently moved back to Ann Arbor from parts elsewhere. Emil had messaged me a few weeks back that he'd had a rough time getting settled and wanted to pick my brain about some faith stuff. Of course, I was intrigued. So this past Friday, we reconnoitered under the patio umbrellas of a local coffee house. It was a glorious day, the grass luminous as the sky. Even the traffic rumbling down the 4-lane spread a cheerful white noise like laughter at a crowded party. Emil looked to be in his mid to late 30s, with ruffled sandy hair and gentle crow feet about the eyes. I liked him immediately. After some chit-chat, he told me his story. A few years back, he had gotten back together with an old high school girlfriend, we'll call her Jocelyn, and moved to the city she lived in to pursue the relationship. She was a very committed Christian. He was a person also drawn by spiritual yearnings, but not keen on Christianity, its institutions, its dogmas, its narrowness. This had been a source of tension between them, and one of the reasons, although not the only one or the most important, that he came to break things off and move back to Southeast Michigan. He still cared a lot about Jocelyn, though. Part of him hoped that the breakup would catalyze some changes that could eventually bring them back together. Then a month ago, Emil got word that Jocelyn's child from a previous relationship, a boy of 16, had killed himself. Emil reached out to her, but she needed not to be in contact, which of course he understood. Plus, she'd recently entered a new relationship with a guy from her church who checked all the boxes. So there Emil was, back in a town where he didn't know many people, having finished by his own hand a love he had not yet fully grieved, and feeling very much alone to navigate his pain and disorientation and, yes, guilt for all that had occurred. What did he do? What could he do? Usually I would be thinking through my next steps, he told me. But for perhaps the first time in his life, he was truly unmoored. a kind of instinct took over, a quiet tug toward what he sensed he needed. He built a little shrine in his bedroom on which he placed a photo of Jocelyn and a photo of her boy. Twice a day he prayed for them or sent them energy. He wasn't even sure what to call it. He found himself cutting his work hours back to a minimum, just slowing the pace of everything way down. And somewhere in this process, it came to him, maybe he should try opening his heart to Jesus, just like Jocelyn had always wanted him to. So shortly after her news shrapneled his world, he stumbled into a nearby church. It happened to be Palm Sunday, featuring the gospel story of Jesus' passion and crucifixion. Normally a private person, Emil wept openly through the service. Then he went home. He did the same thing for the other Holy Week services and Easter and the Sundays since, just sitting in the church, sobbing quietly for an hour and going home again. It's hard to explain, but somehow Emil felt Jesus' unembittered suffering fuse with and envelop his own. Where has all this left him? Bewildered, directionless, deeply uncertain, Emil is Israel wandering through the wilderness for 40 years. He's Elijah fleeing murderous pursuers into Mount Horeb's whirlwind. He's Jesus in the desert for 40 days, enduring, awaiting. All I know, he told me, is the old way of doing things isn't the way anymore. I need to feel all this. I need to trust that this whole thing is going somewhere, even though I can't see it. And right there, in this dislocated, drifting place, there is something, some nourishment or presence or still small voice, something enough, even if just barely enough, to fuel his strange new flame of faith. And enough in its own quiet way to fuel my own. For I realized then that in his open-hearted honesty, Emil had given me the gift of today's message. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. That's the promise. Not you will make everything okay, not you will lift this suffering from me. You are with me. Only that. With me in the valley of the shadow, when I have no place to turn, no hope to hold. When all I can do is release the mirage that I steer my own course. Right there, in that dark place, you are my good shepherd. Right there, your rod and staff, they comfort me. Right there, you spread a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you anoint my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. And although I can't even say how this could possibly be true, I know that surely your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.